Welcome to Death Call, where every road leads somewhere you shouldn't go. Tonight's story, a warm town with warm smiles, that only survives in the dark. He had been driving for what felt like an eternity, the endless blacktop of the deserted highway lulling him into a hypnotic daze. It was well past midnight, and exhaustion was a heavy weight on his eyelids. Just as he was about to give in and pull over on the dusty shoulder, a soft glow appeared on the horizon. Lights, blinking and inviting in the middle of nowhere. It made no sense for a town to be out here, miles from anything, but at that point, he was too tired to question his good fortune. As his car rolled slowly past a weathered wooden sign, he made out the words, Everfield, population 312. The moment he crossed that invisible town line, a strange sensation washed over him. The chilly desert air was suddenly replaced by a gentle warmth, like stepping from a cold night into a cozy, fire-lit living room. He parked his car on the main street, and before he could even turn off the engine, doors began to open. People emerged from their homes, not with suspicion, but with genuine, warm smiles. They looked like they had been waiting for him, not in a creepy, ominous way, but like a family waiting for a long-lost relative to finally come home. Within minutes, he was seated in a small diner, a bowl of rich, homemade soup placed in front of him. The townsfolk gathered around, asking him about his journey, offering him a place to stay for the night. Their kindness was disarming. An elderly woman offered him a room in her guest house, complete with a freshly made bed and clean towels. They treated him not as a stranger, but as a cherished guest, an old friend returning after years away. He fell asleep that night feeling safer and more welcomed than he had in years. The jarring shift came just before dawn. A frantic knocking at his door jolted him awake. It was the mayor, his friendly face from the night before, now pale and etched with panic. His hands were trembling. "You need to leave," the mayor urged, his voice a strained whisper. "Now, please. You have to be gone before sunrise." The traveler laughed it off, thinking it was some quirky local tradition or a joke played on visitors. But the mayor wasn't smiling. "This isn't a joke. For your own good, get in your car and drive. Don't look back." He tried to argue, to rationalize, but the more he resisted, the more desperate the mayor and the other townsfolk became. They started gathering outside his window, their warm smiles replaced with expressions of sheer terror. "We're trapped," a woman whispered through the glass, tears streaming down her face. "This town, we only exist at night. The light, it takes us. And anyone who is still here at dawn, you become one of us forever." He still couldn't bring himself to believe it. It sounded like something from a campfire story. But then, as he glanced around the room, he noticed something that sent a cold spike of fear through his chest. There were no clocks in the entire town that showed the correct time. The grandfather clock in the hall, the watch on the mayor's wrist, the clock on the guest house wall, they were all frozen, stuck on exactly 6:03 a.m. His skepticism finally shattered. Outside, the pleas grew louder, more frantic. "Go, please. Go," they cried, a chorus of despair, all pointing toward the open road. The sky in the east was just beginning to lighten from black to a deep purple. Panic seized him. He bolted out the door and ran for his car. At 6:02, the first rays of sunlight crested the distant mountains, painting the sky in brilliant strokes of orange and pink. And at 6:03, everything stopped. The world went utterly silent. The gentle warmth that had enveloped the town vanished, replaced by an unnatural cold. He watched in horror as the houses, the streetlights, the very people begging for him to leave, began to dissolve. They weren't just fading. They were turning into shimmering wisps of smoke, blown away by an unfelt wind. He fumbled for his car keys, his fingers suddenly numb and clumsy. He had to get out. He turned to run, but his legs felt impossibly heavy. as if he were wading through thick tar. He was slowing down, his movements becoming sluggish and translucent. In a moment of pure, unadulterated terror, he glanced down at the ground. Where his solid shadow should have been stretched out by the morning sun, there was nothing. Just the faint, shimmering outline of a man. An outline that was beginning to dissolve, just like the rest of the town. The last thing he heard wasn't a sound, but a thought whispered directly into his mind, the voice of the long-gone mayor. "Welcome to Everfield. You'll be back at midnight." And just like that, the highway was empty again. The town of Everfield was gone, and the traveler became another ghost in its tragic cycle, doomed to reappear every night at midnight, waiting with a warm, friendly smile to welcome the next lost soul who doesn't leave before dawn. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more tales from the places you shouldn't go. Thank you for listening.